Our news is brought to you by Alive.
Believe in best.
Tonight on our news, no economic shutdown as the country battles the fourth wave of COVID. Murders up by 75%. The police commissioner weighs in. Why police say the murder of Leon Griffin was not armed robbery. Plus, the Bahamas hits a major vaccination milestone. Welcome to our news and thanks for joining us. I'm Christina Dragovich. Topping news tonight, despite a spike in COVID-19 cases on New Providence and restrictions limiting gatherings, Prime Minister Philip Davis is stressing that his government does not plan to shut down economic activity in the country. He also explains what has been described as a contradictory decision to allow hotels to continue with large events while local promoters have had to cancel theirs. Kyle Joaquin reports.
Davis says his government is moving away from the idea of a shutdown as he feels that would do far more damage to the country's economy.
Our economic crisis has been so prolonged and so severe that I am not considering any serious shutdown of economic activity.
It's a delicate balance of health and livelihood, according to Prime Minister Davis, who declared that there will be no further shutdowns that could damage the country's economy. Instead, Davis says the focus is on giving support to small businesses and expanding the public hospital's capacity in the event there is a drastic increase in hospitalizations.
Many Bahamians are earning their first steady paychecks in a long time. Many fragile, small Bahamian-owned businesses are just starting to recover. And as a country, we are taking important steps to economic recovery. So blunt instruments like shutting our borders or prolonged nationwide lockdowns are off the table.
While in opposition, Davis had repeatedly criticized measures like lockdowns and the ensuing damage done to the economy under the Minnis administration. However, some businesses like Fusion Superplex feel some measures put in place by the Davis administration are still doing damage after they've had to cancel New Year's Eve events. And with no large events allowed, Davis warned Bahamians against flocking to those resorts where celebrations will be allowed.
These hotels are full, and their guests are going to socialize on New Year's Eve. It may be safer to be outside at a concert instead of inside at bars, nightclubs, and the casino. I hope that is the case. I don't want anyone to get sick in the Bahamas.
None of the major resorts have responded to any queries regarding reported cases on their properties. However, it's full steam ahead for their New Year's Eve events. Some have called it a contradiction that local event organizers have had to cancel while the show goes on at hotels.
Our health protocols are designed to reduce transmission risk while still supporting economic activity. Often, these twin goals are in contradiction with each other. It's not easy balancing act. It is not an easy balancing act. And you may think we get some of these decisions wrong. But the primary health goal is to slow transmission among Bahamians.
Distribution of free face masks at clinics and vaccination sites are set to begin shortly. As for the free testing, which was a major promise of the PLP on the campaign trail, Davis says that will begin on New Providence in a few days.
Free testing should be starting imminently. We had the pilot program in the Family Islands, and that demonstrated some of the logistical issues that we would have to address when we roll out the whole program. And so, yes, within the next couple of days in New Providence, free testing will be rolled out.
For Our News, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
In other news, former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis asked for the Davis administration to look into the handling of the Public Parks and Beaches Authority under former Chairman Shannon Don Cartwright, according to Prime Minister Philip Davis, who says Dr. Minnis reached out insisting there be an investigation.
A member of my team did indicate to me that the Prime Minister was concerned about what happened at Beaches and Park, and I ought to have investigated it. But that did not prompt what happened with our investigations. I'm advised through a member of my team that he may have. Now, whether he did or not, I'm not aware. But I trust what my member told me.
All contracts of the authority were canceled last week after an audit found massive overspending, poor record keeping and irregularities with the issuance of contracts under the last board. Cartwright has since denied any wrongdoing, but was unreachable for comment regarding Davis's statement today. This is just the latest revelation in the ordeal, as Dr. Minnis and Cartwright are both F&M MPs. When contacted for comment, Minnis called it political mischief, saying, "I haven't spoken to Brave since he became Prime Minister. I've called him on 2 occasions on particular matters, but never gotten him." He continued, "Just stop it, because they're going to push me to a particular point." Today, Davis said once the investigation is complete, the chips will fall where they may.
The preliminary report, the preliminary observations made by the accounting firm that was engaged reveal many troubling issues that require further in-depth investigation, and the instructions are along that line to carry forward with those in-depth inquiries to see where it leads, and wherever it leads, the chips will fall where they may.
Free National Movement leader Michael Pintard said the assertion by the Prime Minister is a serious one that raises many questions and ought to be investigated. He added Davis ought to provide evidence to back up that claim.
I think the Prime Minister should share more about what he knows. We know from the Free National Movement standpoint that it has been vehemently denied, and so he has accused the former Prime Minister, who has denied it. And again, both sets of facts cannot be correct, and so we're very that was a troubling revelation today.
Shifting gears, Police Commissioner Paul Roll revealing a significant increase in homicides this year. Bethany McDermott reports.
According to the police commissioner, 119 homicides have been recorded so far for 2021, a 75% increase compared to the 68 homicides in 2020.
There were 103 murders in New Providence, 13 in Grand Bahama, and 3 in the Family Islands. For the month of December 2021, we recorded 12 homicides. Fatal gunshots remain the leading cause of death.
He said crimes against the person dropped 24%, while crimes against the property saw a 4% decrease. Roll also reported a single-digit increase in police-involved shootings compared to 2020. Back in January, Roll said there were 20 police-involved shootings in 2020, 11 of which were fatal. So far for 2021, he said there were 21 incidents, 13 of which were fatal. 7 occurred in December, 2 of them were fatal. The latest incident occurred just Wednesday night in Grand Bahama.
Officers were on mobile patrol in the Warren Jail Lavarity Highway leading into 8 Mile Rock when they observed individuals in a small Nissan Note discharging shots at persons in a Honda Fit. Officers then pursued this vehicle that took them into the Hawksbill area and into the South Bohemia, where the individuals, as they were being pursued, discharged shots at the police vehicle.
Roll said police returned fire. 2 of the assailants were shot by the officers. Police are also reporting 34 armed robberies for the month of December. The police commissioner said the majority of these incidents occurred as individuals were arriving home. There were also 4 recent sexual offenses.
In the rape matter, a 29-year-old woman was walking in the area of Carmichael Primary when she was attacked and sexually assaulted. I cannot express enough to encourage young women and all alike not to walk in dark areas alone. This occurred around 5 a.m. in the morning.
He said police have also seen an uptick in the transport of illegal drugs in the Bahamas. In December, 43 individuals were charged for possession of dangerous drugs. Reporting for Our News, I'm Bethany McDermott.
Nearly a week after businessman Leon Griffin was murdered outside his home, the police commissioner says police no longer believe the incident was an armed robbery.
We are continuing to investigate that the murder with Leon Griffin. I don't believe that armed robbery, what is developing now, does not appear to be armed robbery. But I can say that we are following significant leads. We have a young man in custody now. Well, not in custody, but who's giving us some information.
Griffin, who was the husband of former Social Services Minister Melanie Griffin, was found in his car after relatives heard the sounds of gunshots. His body was discovered by his wife, who had been inside the family home with their daughter. Roll did not comment further on a possible motive.
It doesn't appear to be armed robbery. Okay? I don't want to speculate because at the end of the day, that hoping we want to solve this and put it before the court.
And the police commissioner has formed an internal investigations committee to look into police-involved shootings. His comments come as he disclosed that 13 people were killed by police this year. He says he took action on the matter as he's concerned the cases have not been moving fast enough in the coroner's court.
What I have done is to appoint my own committee within the Royal Bahamas Police Force, which is comprised of Deputy Commissioner Fernanda, Assistant Commissioner Lehman Delaveau, Assistant Commissioner Shivago Dames, and Father Stephen Davies. And I have mandated them to look at every one of those police-involved shootings.
Roll says there are 5 incidents in particular that he has requested the committee look into first. He added the coroner will advise whether they believe action was justified before referring the matter to the Attorney General. A starry night ahead. Meteorologist Greg Thompson joins us from the weather studio.
Thanks, Christina, and welcome everybody for your first look at weather, being brought to you tonight by Ports International, trusted medical supplies for a better quality of life. Another warm evening outside our studios right now. Temperatures in the mid-70s under mostly clear skies with a few patchy clouds out there. Very light winds out of the south-southeast at 1 mile per hour. And your feels-like temperature in the upper 70s. Satellite view, ridgified pressure dominating still, and that ridge is not going to go anywhere for the foreseeable future until about Monday before we see a front. But very blue skies today, warm temperatures and light winds still persist across the central and northwest Bahamas. Southeast Bahamas seeing some breezy conditions, maybe even a spotty shower. That's your first look at weather. Your extended forecast is still to come.
Still to come, the PM reflects on his administration's first 100 days in office, plus a closer look at the 4th wave of COVID cases in the country. That's coming up when our news returns.
Get that glorious internet connection back in business within seconds with the new self-help modem reset. Just follow these very easy steps. Step 1, call 601-2200 or 242-300-2200. Number 2, select option 3. Step 3, select option 2. Step 4, enter your 8-digit account number. Step 5, follow the prompts. It's really that simple. Rev, you and us together.
Christmas Day made 100 days since the Davis administration took office. While touting his government's fulfillment of campaign promises like the reduction of value-added tax to 10%, Prime Minister Philip Davis says there's much more work to get done. He added his government remains committed to rebuilding and revolutionizing the country.
You're seeing an enormous rebound in our #1 industry. We have eliminated the burden of the travel visa for Bahamians. We ended the competent authority, which was just another name for rule by one man. We ended curfews, and in the months that followed, restaurants and other businesses began to prosper.
But while health officials suspect the Omicron variant is behind the spike in local cases, the latest data is also revealing a spike among visitors. Jasmine Brown has a complete breakdown of the record week in cases in this report.
Since the start of the pandemic, more than 24,000 residents have tested positive for COVID-19. But according to statistics released by the Ministry of Health, last week was the worst in terms of recorded cases.
Last week, Epi Week 51, the Bahamas recorded the highest number of positive cases, presently standing at 970, which surpassed the 888 cases reported in Epi Week 33 of mid-August of this year.
Acting Chief Medical Officer Dr. Philip Swan called the jump significant as it represents 4.7 times the amount of cases recorded just the previous week when 207 positive cases were recorded. But what about visitors testing positive? while the Ministry of Health has revealed that data. Between November 29, 2021 and December 5th, 29 residents and 20 visitors tested positive for COVID. Between December 6th and December 12th, 43 residents and 37 visitors tested positive. The following week is when the spike was evident, as 123 residents and 84 tourists had tested positive for COVID. But it was Epi Week 51 that confirmed the fact that the Bahamas was definitely in a fourth wave, as between December 20th to 26th, 677 residents and 212 tourists tested positive for COVID. Dr. Swan says the jump in visitors testing positive is what prompted the health officials to recommend a change in testing requirements to enter the country.
We noticed that a greater proportion of our cases were among travelers, ranging from 30 to 40%. It was at that time that we began conversations with fellow government agencies on steps to tighten the net around testing requirements to enter the country. The review of available data indicated that a reduction from 5 days to 3 days prior to travel was acceptable to both sides of the coin, and that the movement to accept only RT-PCR would be best given the options available. Analysis of the reduction in time of testing before travel suggested that we could exclude up to 50% of persons who had tested positive in the 5 days after traveling to the Bahamas.
As it relates to who is testing positive during the fourth wave, 20 to 39-year-olds are leading the pack, while the elderly is recording the lowest rate of infection. Now, there is some good news, as Swan says it appears most cases that are presented for care so far are mild. Reporting for our news, I'm Jasmine Brown.
Following a sluggish 2021, businesses in Port Lucaya are praying for better days in the new year. Vendors say they're drowning and are in need of a life vest. They have a lot riding on the sale of the Grand Lucayan Resort. Vonique Toot reports.
Things are horrible right now.
With few tourists walking around, businesses here at Port Lucaya have seen better days. Employees sit on the sidelines hoping to make a sale, but these days that's not guaranteed. Straw vendor Perlene Russell says while guests from nearby hotels trickle in, they rarely see cruise passengers.
Here, we're drowning. Normally on cruise days, if you walk through, you can throw a rock and it doesn't hit anybody. Sometimes there's more pigeons than tourists. So we need help.
Over at Miss D's, Tia Backford says dozens of tourists visit Port Lucaya a day, but business is slow.
I've seen better days, so hopefully with the new government in place, we can see some progress, hopefully, especially across the street with the hotels. We're hoping to see something happening very soon.
These businesses have a lot riding on the future sale of the Grand Lucayan Resort. The Davis administration recently announced it had canceled the sales agreement with Royal Caribbean and the ITM Group. But Deputy Prime Minister Chester Cooper said there are already 6 credible investors looking seriously at the purchase of the Grand Lucayan.
That hotel needs to open in order to get tourists, because really the marketplace really exists because of the tourist. Bahamians tend to shop for occasions, which is excellent, but we do need that everyday foot traffic, so we need more cruise ships coming in. We need to see the hotel open to get the type of flow that we had before.
We're always optimistic. You have to remain optimistic in order to see progress. Bahamians, Grand Bahamians specifically, are pretty resilient, so we're hopeful that something can happen really soon.
Ontario native Kent Catu said he's heard great things about the hotel. He and fellow Canadian Kate Moulton have been in town for a week after sailing in on separate cruises from Canada.
It's a shame that the hotel across the way is closed up. We've had friends that are with us that have said they used to come here for lunch, then they'd walk across and go to the casino and visit the hotel.
Because I love it here. It's tranquil, it's relaxing, and it's not busy.
Freeport Jewelers manager Lauren Madu says the last thing they want is for Port Lucaya to have the same fate as the International Bazaar.
Port Lucaya is slow. It is slow, and things did take off. It didn't take off in usually the first or second week it's sort of slow, but coming into the third, final week, it starts to pick up. This year, we didn't really see that pick up until the last few days before Christmas.
Russell fears that without proper marketing, things won't get better.
The tourists is not coming into Port Lucaya. We need some advertisement in Port Lucaya. As long as we're not advertising, the people doesn't know that we're here. So as long as they advertise, we'll be all right.
I don't want this stuff remaining here for too long. I want this to turn over. So yeah.
Reporting for our news, I'm Vonnie Tude.
When our news comes back from the break, the Bahamas hits a COVID-19 vaccination milestone, and union leaders speak out over concerns of visitors breaking quarantine. The details when our news returns.
Get that glorious internet connection back in business within seconds with the new self-help modem reset. Just follow these very easy steps. Step 1, call 601-2200 or 242-300-2200. Number 2, select option 3. Step 3, select option 2. Step 4, enter your 8-digit account number. Step 5, follow the prompts. It's really that simple. Rev, you and us together.
This is our news. Welcome back. A bump in residents getting vaccinated over the last 2 weeks has pushed the country's vaccination rate to 50%, according to Minister of Health and Wellness, Dr. Michael Darville. Residents 80 years and older have the highest vaccination rate, while 12 to 19-year-olds have the lowest vaccination rate.
As of December the 23rd, 303,939 doses of vaccines have been administered throughout our country. 1,33 people are now fully vaccinated across our islands, which is about approximately 50% of our population.
Meanwhile, Trade Union Congress President Obie Ferguson is calling on resorts to ensure COVID-19 safety protocols are strictly adhered to as the country sees a rapid rise in cases. His comments come after the Bahamas Hotel Catering and Allied Workers Union expressed concern over reports of some visitors breaking quarantine.
I think what needs to be focused on is that the monitoring is very important. And if a particular union or individual says something, they think they should lodge the complaint, in my view, to the Minister of Health and the government agency to ensure that that particular hotel conform and comply with the laws of the country.
Hotel Union General Secretary Sheila Burrows tells the Nassau Guardian she was informed that a female resort guest broke quarantine to pick up food from a restaurant for her boyfriend. She's concerned about employees who may find themselves in similar situations.
We in the Trade Union Congress, and we're concerned about the welfare. And if you recall, the very first COVID training in this country was done by the Commonwealth of Bahamas Trade Union Congress. That's important to note. We anticipate this type of situation, and we try to encourage other organizations, stakeholders, to ensure that the workers were properly trained.
Still ahead, Greg is back with a look at weather, and a former Deputy Prime Minister donates over 200,000 masks. Stay with us.
The Cable Bahamas Group of Companies is the leader in enabling connected lifestyles throughout the Bahamas. And we do this by utilizing innovative technology and solutions to connect you with the things and people you love.
We exist for our customers. We want to make your experience stress-free and seamless at every touch point.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for letting our family keep you connected to yours.
We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Welcome back to our news. Will we be ringing in the new year in clear conditions? Greg is back with a look ahead.
Thanks again, Christina, and welcome back, everybody, for your second look at weather. On our satellite view, we have that rigidified pressure persisting across the area, continuing to generate those nice, warm, but slightly breezy conditions across the southeast Bahamas. Dry mainly across the entire chain of islands with a few spotty showers occurring near the southeast Bahamas. We expect that high to slide out towards the east over the weekend. That will actually pave the way for a frontal boundary that's taking shape across the western United States. That should get in here by Monday with some isolated showers. And behind that, we expect a little bit of a cool down and then improving conditions for next week. Taking a look at our boating conditions for the northwest and central Bahamas tonight through tomorrow, your winds will be out of the southeast to south, 10 to 15 knots, falling light and variable at times. Seas will be running 2 to 4 feet over the ocean. Tide is presently high, will be low at 10:41 tonight. For the southeast Bahamas, that caution flight continues for you guys down there. East to southeast winds 15 to 20 knots. Seas will be running 4 to 6 feet over the ocean. Here's a look now at your national forecast. A look now at your extended forecast through Thursday. As we close out this portion of 2021, nice weather expected until the weekend. That's your look at weather. Back to you, Christina.
Thanks, Greg. Well, as COVID-19 cases skyrocket, the Cynthia Mother Pratt Foundation donated 200,000 face masks to help curb the spread of the virus. The masks will be distributed to members of the community from Prayer and Praise Assembly Church on Ragged Island Street. Former Deputy Prime Minister Cynthia Pratt says she felt compelled to assist.
We're excited here in the inner city where we know the needs are great. This is home. This is where I live. And so we want to do as much as we can do, but it's not only about Coconut Grove, it's about the Bahamas.
100,000 masks have already been distributed around New Providence and the Family Islands. The foundation has also helped residents in other ways, including donating shoes and feminine hygiene packages to students of 23 schools.
We have a number of masks for the children so that each school will be able to get so many for the toddlers as they come in. Because you must bear in mind, when a mother has 5 or 6 children, they're struggling to eat. So where are they going to get money to buy masks? And so that's what we are talking about. If we're able to assist, then we know that that's one thing that we've done to take the pressure of parents.
Thank you for joining us for our news tonight. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Christina Dragovich. We'll see you right back here tomorrow night. If you missed the premiere of Our News Year in Review 2021, hosted by Kyle Joaquin, the rebroadcast starts right now. Have a beautiful evening, Bahamas.